That is one of the most important things when it comes to being a trainer. And we kind of revert back to like we were talking about some of the Instagram stuff, which again, I understand somebody being like, everybody should be barbell back squatting. It's like, okay, maybe we change that to like everybody should be squatting. Because what happens when this person puts a bar in their back and it hurts? Or their elbows are like this. This like right? Like as like
Yeah,
especially if you
100%.
work with older people, like I never thought about it when I was younger in Olympic weightlifting, but holding a bar like this for a lot of people's fucking hard. They're like their elbows are
It
like this,
rips them
or like it
apart. It
crushes
rips them.
them.
Hey, if you work like this all day long, and all of a sudden it's not just moving here, but you have to move right here and then put weights behind your back.
Hard.
No.
I feel it myself. Sometimes when I'm doing squats, my right shoulder, because I play baseball, so my right shoulder's a little funky. My shoulder like cramps up. I'm like, God, it doesn't like being there. And it's like that's where we get into like the dogma sometimes. It's like everybody needs to be doing this. It's like there's such a big yeah, but that needs to come after that because like again, I understand what people are trying to say. And look, we've got to play the game a little bit. We've got to be a little like eye catchy and have maybe some clickbait type of
Yes.
stuff. I get
Yes.
that.
That's what it
And
is. That's what it
I
is.
do that, you do that. Everybody does it to a degree where it's like we need something to capture eyes. But like language is so important in the way you say it. It's like, you know, it's a perfect example. I remember you did this. You had a video that was like it was like the best and worst kettlebell coaches in Instagram. And I was like, damn, but the worst? Click. So I clicked on it, and then at the beginning, you're like, I'm not calling people out for being shitty coaches. I just said that so you guys would click on it. And then you went through like a very informative video, which I love that because that it could be something like that. It's like the everybody needs the barbell back squat is the name of the video. It's like, yes, okay, cool. Everybody should do that if you can, but if it bothers your shoulder, bothers your back, you're terrified of a barbell, like that's a factor too. Like, cool, goblet squat, double kettlebell front squat, squat. You can't get that low squat with your heels on a board. Something like that is that's where
Man.
we run into the like everybody needs to do X, and it's like sometimes you're trying to
Exactly.
fit a square peg into a round hole, and that's where the audibles of a good coach comes into play. Because if you just got uh, certification 2 weeks ago, or you're training people and you just follow Instagram dude 123 is like everybody needs a back squat, and then you're like, cool, 58-year-old Joanne is going to back squat for the first time she's ever squatting in her life. It's like maybe not. So those were those audibles coming. She's like, oh, it hurts
Yes.
my back, and you're like, oh, just try getting lower, you'll warm up. It's like no. So,
Let's put some
so
weight on it.
yeah, right. Yeah, that'll
You
drop you
gotta
down a
you
little bit.
gotta get in the groove. It's gonna drop you down. Don't worry about it.
But those audibles are where it comes into play, and that's
Yeah.
what's so
Yeah.
important in this industry when you're working with, again, we always say like regular people, because that's most people is
That's
a little bit.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's the nut jobs like you and me who love that stuff,
Yeah.
right? Who are in that small bubble. That's such a tiny. Sean Mosen did this with me. I love it, and I do it all. I do it as well. He said, "Listen, this is the world's population, right? Okay, now let's shrink it down to how many people train 2 to 3 times a week regularly throughout the whole year." So he shrinks it down like this, and then he stops approximately here, right? Then he says, okay, so that's a very small group, right? I said, yes. You know what this group does in their free time? I said, no. Talk to each other how bad they are and how bad their form is. And it's our little bubble that we
So
find
small.
ourselves in. It's so, but it's I think it is a paradox. There's most definitely a name for it. You think the world, yeah, it's not exactly a paradox, but the world is not, how does that work? The world is not how you, the world is not how it is. No, the world is not how you think it is, it's how it is. Something like this, right? Because you
Okay.
think, you see all that stuff all the time, you automatically assume that everybody's like this.
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
So I see this in my Instagram feed all the time. So of course, and then that's why you brought that in. And here I see Pat. Oh my God.